recognizing that Kengen had very little headroom to raise any capital, it was therefore necessary to find ways and methods of creating some headroom. And I must say that the success of this important exercise, where Kengen has raised 26.4 billion Kenya shillings, is very remarkable. It has made provision for Kengen to raise almost another over 50 billion in debt, because this is going to translate into equity. And I want to thank the National Treasury for being very positive and listening to us in the sector, and even being able to provide for funds to convert some of the debt that Kengen had obtained as a payoff for the light issue. Indeed, the government has taken the 100% light in this particular exercise. This is a demonstration of the government's commitment to supporting the infrastructure ministries so that we can create jobs, we can create opportunities for this country and take care of our youth who indeed need a lot of jobs, and even achieve the Vision 2030. You all appreciate and acknowledge that achievement of industrialization as a goal of Vision 2030 relies heavily on infrastructure. Energy being one of them, very key, because energy is an enabler. It's a catalyst for industrialization and for growth. It is indeed very difficult to realize the goals of Vision 2030 without adequate, reliable, cost-effective, affordable, and even competitively priced energy. Those are very critical ingredients of empowerment of the economy towards industrialization. Kengen's ability to successfully plan, construct, and operate power plants is evident in the heavy investments that they have done in geothermal. Indeed, as the chairman has told us, the installed capacity of geothermal energy in Kengen has risen to 514 megawatts, and therefore made this country attain the 7th position in the area of geothermal generation. I think about 2 years ago we were in 10th position. So you can see we are really going up the ladder. And the positive results recorded from this rights issue is also a very clear pointer to the impending massive rollout of geothermal energy projects using funds generated from this issue. The good news is Kengen already has quite some significant volume of steam that is readily available to be converted into electrical energy. And the benefits to the economy of using geothermal energy need not be emphasized. I think in the recent past, as soon as Kengen commissioned 280 megawatts in Okaria, there was a drastic reduction in the cost of energy. I know there are some industrialists who don't like acknowledging that, but the figures don't cheat, they don't lie. The reduction in the total bills ranges from 25% to 30%. Industries, about 25%. Some of the domestic customers slightly even much better, especially the lifeline tariff has benefited by a reduction of about 30%. And this has happened because of the displacement of fossil fuels by geothermal. And geothermal is our oil. Even though we have discovered oil, geothermal steam is indeed another type of our oil. By displacement of fossil fuels, besides, of course, reducing the cost of energy, we have now been able to reduce the funds that we use to import fossil fuels for generation of power. That, of course, improves the balance of trade because we have reduced the imports. And at the same time, saves the much needed hard currencies so that we can direct those hard currencies to other uses. So this geothermal steam is indeed a very critical natural resource, and which definitely will make a big contribution to industrialization in this country. When we launched those 280 megawatts power plants, our dependence on fossil-fueled generators reduced from about 35% to less than 10%. At the same time, the contribution of geothermal to the energy mix increased to almost 50%. There is 1 month we actually did about 51%. And as we speak, despite the fact that our installed capacity is 514 megawatts, and hydro installed capacity is almost 800 megawatts, the energy contribution of geothermal is about 50%. The energy contribution of hydro is about 38%. Reason being that geothermal is a sustained source of power. The average availability is about 92 to 96%. We are able to generate throughout. But of course, you know, when it comes to hydro, when we experience months of drought, it means that our hydro generation is decreased. Kengen is also undertaking many other initiatives. I think this initiative of geothermal is the most important. I am aware that there is another wind plant in Meru that is planned and is already undergoing discussions of funding by the AFD. And more importantly, the reliance and the focus of Kengen on geothermal did not just benefit the economy. Concurrent to the benefits to the economy, there was a huge increase of profitability by Kengen. I think that's the first time they started getting 2-digit billions in terms of profitability. And as we go on focusing on this geothermal energy development, I want to assure the shareholders that you have made the wise choice of investing in Kengen share. I have no doubt that energy being a critical catalyst for growth and industrialization, anybody investing in energy shares benefits from sustainability of revenue streams. There is no time when we will do without dependence on energy. And therefore, besides the reasonable return on investment, I emphasize more on the sustainability of the investment in this energy project. So I would want to encourage investors, shareholders to continue investing in these shares of Kengen. Indeed, I want to congratulate Kengen and the Treasury for making it possible to realize this very good output of this lights issue. 92% and raising 26.4 billion Kenya shillings, as I am told, one of the highest ever raised in the stock market. Besides what Kengen is doing, we are also working on other programs to ensure that we have reliable and competitively priced energy, but more importantly, we also have all Kenyans accessing electrical energy. Considering that electrical energy is the most convenient driver of economic growth, including industrialization, we have found it need to fast-track the universal access to electricity by all Kenyans to the year 2020 from the year 2030. That is a 10-year fast-tracking. When Vision 2030 was conceptualized, that was the year universal access was supposed to be achieved, but we would want to achieve that universal access by the year 2020. We've already reached about 53% at the moment, and we intend to get to 70% by June 2017. I am sure you have heard of some of the programs we have, like Last Mile Connectivity Project, which is focusing on the last mile customer. The last mile project to connect the customer, whether it's domestic, industry, or even small commercial customers. We are sure that by achieving universal access, we will be able to spur up this country for industrialization. Indeed, most of the urban areas that you see today with the many industries started from just mere access to electricity. And as years go by, more industries keep coming, and those industries help to industrialize the nation. So we are focused more on environment-friendly energy, and I'm glad to hear that the Nairobi Stock Exchange has already started thinking in terms of carbon credits. Our energy consumption from renewable sources is about 90% in this country. And therefore, with that high dependence on renewable energy, we will benefit a lot from that trading in carbon credits, and I would want to encourage you and even to chip in if you need any expert advice or you need any facilitation from the ministry. We are more than willing to encourage that very important, innovative idea of trading in carbon credit. Let me also congratulate Kengen for this innovation of raising capital, and still challenge them more that the 50 billion that you'll be able to get from this lights issue is not enough for the growth of Kengen. The size of your organization requires massive capital. And of course, you know, geothermal itself requires a lot of capital. And I challenge you to also think in terms of other alternative options of raising capital. That is the only way that you'll be able to sustain growth and benefit the shareholders progressively and sustainably in the future. Let me also thank the stakeholders, especially the shareholders, for taking their light. We should not take it for granted. We appreciate your confidence in Kengen as an organization that will be sustainable and that will take care of your investments, and indeed, as I say, give you sustainable returns in dividends and even in capital gains. And with those few remarks, it's now my pleasure to invite my sister Esther to come and talk and represent the Cabinet Secretary who is away on official duties, and also the PS who is away. But I'm sure Esther will be passing their apologies. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, congratulations for taking this important Kengen share.
Let me start by giving the apologies of my CS, who, as the PS has said, is actually currently out of the country on official duty, and the PS who could not make it because he had another engagement that came up fairly abruptly. So they sent me here to actually ring the bell, and that is what I'm here to do. So, Dr. Engineer Joseph Njoroge, Principal Secretary, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, the members of the Board of Kengen, the Chairman, Mr. Joshua Choge, members of the Board of the NSC and the Chairman, Mr. Samuel Kimani, Engineer Albert Muga, Chief Executive of Kengen, Titus Mbathi, former Chairman NSC, and you did a lot in your time. Mr. Njoroge, former CEO of Kengen and also former Chairman of the NSC. Mr. Gershon Otachi, Geothermal Development Corporation. Paul Muthaura, CEO Capital Markets Authority. Rose Mambo, CEO CDSC. Mr. Mbaru, who has done a lot for this BUAS and for industry in general, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here this morning to represent the CS, as I have said, and to join you on this auspicious occasion of the start of the trading of the Kengen shares following its successful rights issue. Today's event attests to the success of the rights issue and the confidence that the market has in the company. Above all, it demonstrates government's commitment as the principal shareholder to see to it that Kengen is placed in a strong financial position to be able to play its role in the economy. And the PS has really outlined, what the role of Kengen is and the importance that it's going to play in terms of getting our economy to move forward. We have no doubt that the impressive results emanating from this rights issue is a clear testament of Kengen's commitment to retain its position as the leading energy generating company in the country. More importantly, the success of the rights issue offers shareholders an opportunity to invest more in new energy projects for good financial return. We'd like to recognize the role of Kengen in deepening the capital markets, starting from its listing way back in 2006. And we recognize the role that was played by the chairman and